The Heisman Trophy won't be handed out for another 6 months or so, but it's never too early to talk about early favorites. Today I'm going to be sharing my top 10 of players who I currently think have the best chance to win the Heisman in 2020. In the coming weeks, I'll also be publishing videos in which I go over some Heisman sleepers, players that I also think have a long shot to win the Heisman Trophy. Before I get to my list, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new and love college football. Also, make sure to turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Kicking off our countdown is wide receiver Jamar Chase out of LSU. Now, a wide receiver hasn't finished in the top 10 of Heisman voting since D.D. Westbrook of Oklahoma back in 2016. I expect that to change this year with Jamar Chase. As a sophomore, Jamar Chase won the Biletnikoff Award that goes to the best wide receiver in the country. The 6'1", 200-pounder hauled in 84 catches for 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns over 14 games, breaking the SEC single-season record for both receiving yards and touchdown receptions. Now, yes, he does have a new quarterback throwing to him, but I fully expect Chase to have another record-breaking season, and if he does, there's no reason he shouldn't receive any votes and finish in the top 10. Since 2014, a defensive player has finished in the top 10 of voting all but 1 year, and I think that trend will continue this year, with Gregory Russo being the one receiving the votes. He was one of the nation's best defensive ends as a redshirt freshman in 2019, and many people think he was the best defensive end. Rousseau finished with 19.5 tackles for loss and an ACC leading 15.5 sacks. If he's able to improve on those numbers, I think he has a chance to be like Chase Young this past year, who finished 4th in the voting. Now, it's been a while since we've seen a running back win the Heisman, but Chuba Hubbard is capable of doing it. He rushed for nearly 2,100 yards last year and also had 20 rushing touchdowns. A lot of winning the trophy is based on team success, so in order for Hubbard to have a chance, he'll likely need Oklahoma State to win at least 9, maybe 10 games, which is something I think they can do. Another guy here whose odds will come down to how North Carolina does in 2020. Sam Howell set an ACC freshman record last year with 38 touchdowns. He also threw for nearly 3,700 yards. With an improved Tar Heels team and another year under his belt, I can easily see Howell throwing for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. If North Carolina can stay alive in the ACC title game talks, Howell can very well win the award. It's been about 15 years since a USC quarterback has won the Heisman. That can change in 2020. A year ago, Kedon Slovis wasn't even the starter for the Trojans. He was the backup to JT Daniels, but an injury to Daniels gave Slovis his shot, and he took full advantage of the opportunity, putting up record-setting numbers in the air raid system under first-year offensive coordinator Graham Harrell. He made 11 starts and set the Pac-12 record for completion percentage at 71.9. Slovis threw for 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns with only 9 interceptions, while being named the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. With more experience and a better USC team surrounding him, Slovis hopes to not only be a finalist, but lead the Trojans to a Pac-12 championship. If I had to put my money on any running back to win the Heisman, it would likely go all on Travis Etienne. Not only has he been arguably the best running back in college football over the last few years, he plays on one of the best teams in the nation. Clemson is likely going to be competing for a title yet again, which will really help his chances. He's already the ACC's all-time leader in rushing touchdowns with 56, and he's just going to add on to that number in 2020. The two-time All-American has started 40 of 43 games over the last 3 seasons, rushing for over 4,000 yards while adding 54 receptions for 567 yards and 6 touchdowns. Okay, I may be too high on his finish, but I have good reason. Oklahoma has had their quarterback finish as a finalist for the Heisman the last 3 years while having 2 win it. With Lincoln Riley being an amazing coach for quarterbacks, there's no reason we shouldn't expect to see Spencer Rattler as a finalist. He was the top-ranked quarterback of his class coming out of high school, so this is a guy that can play. Again, I know he hasn't proven anything yet, but I fully expect him to thrive under Lincoln Riley in 2020 and put up video game-like numbers. Just 2 years ago, D'Eriq King had 50 touchdowns in one season at Houston while missing his last 2 games. Although it'll be tough to replicate, I can see King reaching that number again with Miami. He goes there with an improved offense and weapons surrounding him. D'Eriq King has a very favorable schedule in 2020, so I wouldn't be shocked to see some monster performance out of him, especially early on. His finish will all come down to how the Hurricanes are doing in 2020. If they're competing for an ACC title, I think it'll be a near guarantee to see him finish in the top 5. Unless things go completely wrong in Columbus this year, Justin Fields will be a near lock to be a Heisman finalist. In his first year as a starter last year, he threw for 3,300 yards with 41 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. Oh, and he rushed for 500 yards and 10 touchdowns as well. He was named the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and the Quarterback of the Year, as well as a second-team All-American, and ultimately finished 3rd in Heisman Trophy voting in 2019. If he can lead the Buckeyes to the Big Ten title again, Fields might come out victorious this time around. With this likely being his final year at Clemson, this is the final chance for Trevor Lawrence to win a Heisman. Although he's been one of the top quarterbacks in college football since taking over his freshman year, he's never really made a strong push at winning the trophy. That likely can change this season. Last year, a slow start for his season killed any chance he had, but he really finished the season with a bang. Over his final 7 games, Lawrence threw 22 touchdowns with no interceptions. For the season, he completed 66% of his passes for 3,700 yards with 36 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, going along with 550 rushing yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. Clemson is going to be good yet again, and Lawrence is going to put up great numbers. The only question is, will they be great enough for Clemson to have their first Heisman Trophy winner? Well, there's my list for the 10 players I think have the best chance to win the Heisman next year. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your top 10 is, or give me your top 5 of the 5 players you think have the best odds to win the Heisman. As I mentioned, in the coming weeks, I'm going to be posting videos of Heisman sleepers, players that didn't make my top 10, but guys I think ultimately still have a chance to win the Heisman. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, that way I know you guys enjoyed it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.